Hey, what is up everybody? This is Jumpin here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another DLC video. This is going to be the N7 Fury. Really amazing adapt, definitely in my opinion the best in the game now. A lot of fun to play. I definitely recommend using a very light gun with this build and just a pistol. Just a pistol with the melee stunner, some type of melee increaser, because she does have really good melees. Don't really recommend doing her melee much, but yeah, she does have really good melees, and you do not need to shoot with her at all. Now, there's a couple things about this version of this build. I reset her, and I don't know if I like it the old way or the new way now. This is the new way. Now, I went for damage over impact radius. I was told that impact radius is only for the blast effect and not the actual field. If that's the case, then yes, the damage is way better. But if that's not the case, and it's actually the impact radius is the field around you, the radius would be 1,000 times better to go for it. You guys tell me. I don't really know yet. I felt after using it this way that I lost some radius on it, so I don't know. I think that it does affect the field and not just the blast. Okay, now I went for damage taken here. I think that the movement speed is also very good, but the damage taken is just like another warp effect with expose. It's pretty godly for explosions. Finally, drain. This is really broken, mainly because this is just like energy drain, but the difference is that you, depending on the damage you deal, is the shields you get back. So it's crazy good. For Dark Channel, leave this at 3. Dark Channel is not that good, guys, honestly. The only good thing that it gets in the evolutions is slow. I was wrong about Pierce. Pierce just increases the damage that Dark Channel does, and it is not a debuff. So because of that, you only need it at 3. You don't really need the slow effect. Alright, so for throw, go for radius. This will help you because you will constantly set up explosions of multiple people. And if you throw any of them, normally you detonate. And you also, of course, want detonation just to increase the damage and kill a lot of enemies. And then finally, force and damage. This also helps for killing enemies in like 1 or 2 explosions because it adds damage to the throw. Alright, now for N7 Fury, definitely damage and capacity, and then power damage. You don't need weapons damage. You really don't need to ever shoot on this build, so just leave that at 5. Now here's where it gets tricky. Her melee is godly. For the first level on this version, I went for durability, then I went for martial artist, and then I went for power synergy. Now her melee is really good. It's not that strong, but she can teleport like a vanguard and hit multiple enemies. It has range and radius. That's really good. The only downside is that she's so flimsy that I don't really know yet if I want the fitness, the health, and shields, or the melee. It's up to you guys. I don't really know yet. I'm still working on the build. For my equipment, I'm going to be using armor piercing rounds 1 just in case I come across guardians. Strength enhancer 3 because her melee is godly. Commando package. Now here's the thing. Because you don't shoot, you do not need this. There's a new gear that's better for that. It's melee and biotic damage. Now, and the final one is going to be Shield Booster 2. I only have 2s. I don't have any 3s or 4s. But if I would have had 3s or 4s, I think that this gameplay would have been better because I would probably not have ever really even died. Not having 3s and 4s, you need 3s and 4s for platinum and for gold, to be honest. She's so flimsy that she can die so easily. You might think Power Ant would be a good way to go, which it would work okay, but you will die a lot. She just does not have the shields to stay alive. The playstyle with the N7 Fury is so awesome. I love playing with her because this is the way I like to play. This is the only adapt in the game that is kind of like this. I mean, of course, the X-Cerberus is like this too a little bit, but I like this one way better. This is a close range adapt. Dark Channel, you don't need it. You only need to use it against maybe Banshees and Bosses if you don't want to get close to them. And that's it. Everything else, you just need to rush. You are a walking explosion. That is the idea of the field, is that you put the field around you, annihilation field. And right here, I'm going to get grabbed by a freaking husk. I was so mad. The first couple waves of this gameplay is going to be a little whatever. But it will pick up and become better and better as I go. But anyway, like I was saying, Annihilation Field is so godly. It is like the best new power in the game, I think. It's one of the best new powers. It's so amazing. It can set up explosions like crazy. It's amazing how many explosions you can actually set up. And that right there was her heavy melee. The way I recommend using her heavy melee, guys, is to use it as more of a way to get around the map. The damage increase like martial artist and power synergy, that's nice too. But the power synergy, I don't really think I would ever go for that again, to be honest. The reason why is because her heavy melee really does not kill easily. It's really, really hard to get a kill with it. Like, if you explode them and then you heavy melee, maybe you can kill them. But for the majority of the time, it's just, to me, I never get kills when I use her heavy melee. And because of that, I rarely ever get the power synergy bonus, which would be amazing. And I rarely ever get the martial artist bonus, which would also be amazing. So overall, I mean, especially if you don't use strength, if you do not use Strength Enhancer 3, there's no way her heavy melee would probably kill enemies. And because of that, that's how I feel about it. I just think maybe she needs to be, the way that you really want to play with her is the way you're going to see me play with her. You're going to run around the map. If you're going to use her heavy melee, you want to use it as more of a, I'm going to run up and get very close. I'm going to heavy melee close to the enemies so that I can blow them up. That's the idea of her heavy melee. Not so much for killing. That's pretty much how it goes. Now, the annihilation field, though, let me go ahead and talk about this power because it's so amazing. Like I said, you are a walking explosion. This is an epic fail. I was trying to heavy melee and I don't know why I got on the wall. But anyway, you are a walking explosion. If you play this with an adapt team, it is amazing. Every time you walk past enemies, you set them up for an explosion and your teammates can detonate, or you can simply detonate by throw. Throw is such an amazing thing for this build. I think Shockwave would have been amazing too, but throw is just so broken because it sets enemies up like every 1 second and you can throw them every 1 second. So it's just non-stop. It is a non-stop walking bomb. Really cool idea that BioWare had, and it just works out so well. If the best new Bionic team in the game is hands down, and I will say hands down for this because this is so true, 3 Furies, 1 Human Vanguard with Half Blast. That is so amazing and so much fun. You have the 3 Furies just run around and set up so many explosions, and the Half Blasting Vanguard just blows everything up non-stop. It is incredible. Definitely try that out if you can. I will maybe come out with a gameplay like that on Glacier. I don't really know yet. I chose this map because I know this is a new map, and I'm sure you guys are probably interested in seeing the new maps. And I will talk about this map a little bit in a little while, but right now I'm just going to go keep talking about the N7 Fury. Now, this is going to be an objective wave. This is going to be an upload. I kind of wanted to milk it just to get more kills and just to extend this video because I have so much to talk about. So I really wanted to milk this, but after a while we actually have a little bit of trouble, so we're just going to finish it early. But anyway, let me go ahead and talk about the annihilation field. Like I said, I have so much to talk about because I love this character so much. This is my favorite adept in the game now, and probably my second favorite. I really like the soldier a lot, but this thing is also extremely good and it's a lot of fun. So, alright, so annihilation field, like I said, it can set up like every 1 second. You are a walking bomb. Throw is an amazing combination for it. Using teammates to help you, that's an amazing thing to do. The way it works though is that as long as you get close to them, you will set them up. There's a couple things about it though that you have to watch out. The first thing is that it only will last 90 seconds with Drain. It will only last 90 seconds. So you do need to constantly turn it off and on. Sometimes you might have to turn it off and on like in a wave twice, maybe sometimes. That's very rare, depending on how long it takes you to do the waves. But sometimes in a wave you will have to turn it off and on. Other times you might not have to. So that's the thing. But after every wave, you should definitely turn it off, and when the wave starts, you should definitely turn it back on. That's just something you definitely should do, and you definitely will need to do. And you need to, and it's kind of confusing to be honest. Right here, to me, it looks like I have the annihilation field on, but that's because, and you might have thought that as well, that it looked like it was on because you glow blue when it's on. That's the way you can tell. But now the confusing part is that when it goes off, when it like legitimately like falls off or starts to come off of you, it takes about an extra 10 seconds before the glowing blue aura is actually fully gone. The only way you can actually tell that if it's on or not is 2 ways. The first way is that you can see these glowing black like death rays coming out of you. Like if you pay attention, you might be able to see it. It's really tough to pay attention to that though in the middle of combat, in the middle of action. So That's one thing. The other way to tell is that you can just tell by how it sets up explosions. The way that it sets up explosions is that a energy beam will come out of the field and touch, like right here, you'll see it. I don't know, you didn't get to see it right there, but you will see it throughout this whole gameplay. An energy beam will come out the field and connect to the enemy, telling me that I need to set it up. You have to have somewhat, you need to get the timing down as well. You can mess up your explosions if you're throwing before the beam is actually hitting them. So you have to get the timing down. It's not hard to get the timing down because it's like every 1 second. But that is something as well. Alright, like I said, so that's really the two worst things about Annihilation Field. The first thing is that it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to tell when it's on. And the other thing is that like you can mess it up if you're not careful enough. But anyway, overall though, it is such an amazing power. It is such an amazing combination. And I mean, the heavy melee is nice because that's kind of the idea with her heavy melee, is that you can fly across the map right into all the enemies, and then when you hit them with when you hit all the enemies, you will actually set them all up for explosions, and then you can start blowing them up. So really, one heavy melee and one explosion normally will kill all the enemies. The downside is that you won't get heavy melee kills, and without the heavy melee kills, you won't get martial artists, and you will not get the power synergy that you really do want. So overall, I think that at this point, if I don't know yet, but if I was to remake this build, I would make it with full fitness, probably shield recharge and not martial artists, just to help her stay alive longer. And then the other thing I would do is definitely probably go for radius on the Annihilation Field. Now let me go ahead and tell you about Drain. Drain is the 6th evolution of Annihilation Field, and it is so amazing. It's definitely the one you want to go for, because it does two things. The first thing is that it actually will make the Annihilation Field last for 90 seconds, which is something that is very needed. Like I said, it's kind of confusing, and you might mess yourself up if you don't actually pay attention. So the 90 seconds is normally long enough for one wave on gold. On platinum, yes, it's going to probably be a little bit longer per wave, but mainly on gold, that's about enough time. Sometimes it might take 2 minutes. I don't really know. It just depends. So that's the thing. Now, Drain is amazing. It is so amazing. It's not like energy. It's kind of like energy drain, but it's not like energy drain. The way it works is that it does drain the enemies just like an energy drain, but it only can drain shields, not robots, not Geth. So that's the thing. You do need to only go for shield targets when you want to get your shield back. And that kind of poses a problem against Reapers. This really does work against Reapers well. There's only two problems against Reapers though. Is that Banshees can grab you because you have to play at close range, and Brutes can really mess you up. Her dodge is really amazing, honestly. I like her dodge a lot. You won't see me do it much in this gameplay because I'm still getting used to her dodge. But one thing about her dodge is that against Brutes, it just kind of doesn't work right because you can always dodge backwards, you can always dodge to the side, but it takes, even though her dodge goes so far, you will just go flying away from the enemy and get out of danger. It's just that it takes about 1 second to actually like initiate the dodge, or maybe a half of a second. So if a Brute's about to melee you, you can't just wait. You can't wait to dodge out the way of a Brute. You have to dodge first. So that's something also you have to get used to with her, is her dodge. Which I'm still not fully used to her dodge yet, and you really don't need to do her dodge too much. Right there, I tried to do the dodge, but it took too long to actually initiate, so because of that, I still got hit by the Brute. So Brutes and Banshees can mess you up, and the other downside to Reapers with her is the fact that only Marauders and Banshees have shields. Everything else does not. So that can also pose a problem when it comes down to staying alive or to getting your shields back with the drain effect. But against Geth or Cerberus, oh man, the drain effect is so amazing. I never really got into how it works. The way it works is that depending when you have the Annihilation Field on, depending on how much damage you inflict to the enemies, is what you like drain. You drain 100% of their shields of damage that you inflict. That's insane, because one heavy melee normally will get your shield back, because enemies on gold and platinum have way more shields than what she has. So that's how it kind of works. One heavy melee will normally get your shields back, especially if you hit multiple enemies with shields. The other thing is one explosion will get your shield back. So she, against Cerberus or Geth, she's pretty tanky. Now, Geth, not so much. She's definitely, in my opinion, the best against Reapers and Cerberus. Geth do have nothing but shields, and that is nice. You can normally drain them really easily. The downside is that they do inflict a lot of damage. You have hunters and primes and rocket troopers and pyros. You know, you have all these insanely powerful offensive gods that are the Geth enemies, and most of them are close range that they really will mess you up because she's so flimsy. That's the only downside to the Fury, is that she's flimsy. She's just like any normal human. She's flimsy, but the downside is that you have to play her close range if you want to be very effective. So that's the only thing bad about her, to be honest. Everything else is good. Now, you might be saying, "Oh, Dark Channel is so cool, Jumpin'." Yes, Dark Channel is cool, guys. Dark Channel is awesome. But guess what? It just doesn't really work on this build. It's so much better to do what I'm doing with the Annihilation Field combination with Throw. That's the best way to do it, honestly. Right here, I got freaking bitch smacked. But anyway, that's the best way to play with this build, is Annihilation Field with the Throw combination. Right here, I'm going to get dropped, unfortunately. But it's whatever. But anyway, like I was saying, the best way to play with this build is just the Annihilation and the Throw combination. Dark Channel is good for the build, though, at 3, because you can at least use it at range. That's the thing. You can have a ranged attack, because without that, if you want to set up your own explosions, you have to run point blank next to bosses. But with Dark Channel, you can just kind of stay back and shoot them with your gun, and also go ahead and just Dark Channel enemies. The other cool thing about Dark Channel, for like a good example would be Human Vanguard on your team with you, is that she has a double setup move. Now that might be a little confusing for some of you guys, so I'll go ahead and explain what that means. Dark Channel cannot detonate. It can only set up. Annihilation Field, unless you detonate the field, which you should never do. The Blast is really whatever. The Blast is pretty good damage-wise, but it's not really worth it to detonate. It's better just to set up explosions, which do a ton more damage. I'm going to die right here again. Like I said, she's just so flimsy. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, pretty much, like, the explosions are way better than the blast, so you don't need to be doing the blast. The blast can detonate explosions, though, I believe. I'm not 1,000% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure that is what it can do. It can detonate explosions for your teammates and you, so that is something that is kind of cool. But anyway, the way Dark Channel is that it's just a setup only power. So if you really want to, you could just stand right next to a boss enemy like an Atlas, and let the Annihilation Field set up explosions, and then you Dark Channel and you shoot, and that will set up one explosion, and then let's say a Human Vanguard charges that will detonate that explosion. You Dark Channel, then the Human Vanguard Novas. That's an explosion. Then the Human Vanguard Novas again while your Dark Channel is recharging, but guess what? Your Annihilation Field has already set up another explosion. So that's 3 explosions just from charge, Nova, Nova. That is 3 explosions on a boss. By the time that third Nova goes off, your recharge on your Dark Channel will be pretty much back, and the recharge on the charge for the Human Vanguard will be back. It's insanity. Like I said, best team ever now for doing this, for doing explosions, is 1 Human Vanguard. Probably the host would be the best, so he can't get in the Vanguard glitch, with 3 Furies. 3 Furies, pretty much either the Human Vanguard could follow around. Really, they could just stay together as a gang-banging team, pretty much. And it would wreck. It would wreck every faction, and it would be a lot of fun to do. Even if you got grabbed as a Human Vanguard against a boss-level enemy, like an Atlas or a... well, maybe not an Atlas, but mainly a Banshee. If a Banshee was to grab you, your teammates would knock you loose in like a half of a second. So it really wouldn't matter, because that's the beautiful part about her. She's one of the only adepts that can detonate her own explosions very quickly and very effectively. And that is really amazing. So like I said, overall, she is the best adept in the game. No question in my mind. And I just hope you can tell. Now, gameplay. In this gameplay, I chose this gameplay mainly because this was a gameplay that I got with my good buddies Drew and Acidian. I did have better gameplays than this, honestly. Now, in this gameplay, I didn't die that much, even though I only had the shield boosting equipment 2, where in the other gameplays I had shield boosting equipment 3 and 4 in a couple of them. But I chose this one, like I said, mainly because like I was playing with my good buddies Drew and Obsidian, and the other reason is that we had really good teamwork because we're good friends and we know how to play well together. So I felt that our teamwork was a lot better in this gameplay compared to the other ones. Because in the other gameplays, to be honest, I was like kind of on like super carry mode, and I was just like, I don't even know, like I was getting like ridiculous scores, like 250,000 points with this build, because you can do that. That's how insane this build is that you can score like a consistent 200,000 points if you want to. Or over 200,000 points, because she is setting up, if you're playing, especially if you're playing with an adapt team, she's going to be setting up the majority of all the explosions. And not only she's going to be setting up the majority of all the explosions, but she can detonate her own explosions, and your teammates will detonate your own explosions. And if you just run around and do your own thing, you'll just kill everything, man. You will just kill everything. But yeah, so that's just kind of how it works. And it's, like I said, it's just amazing. It is just amazing. I haven't talked about it, but I hope that you have seen the way I use Dark Channel. When I fight the Banshees, I primarily just use Dark Channel to either stay further back from them or to stand next to them and do what I told you earlier, where I pretty much just let the annihilation field set up and I let the Dark Channel set up. Now, the difference is that you kind of have to hope that the timing's right. It's all about timing, honestly. But you can't really, it's so hard to time what your teammates are doing, where with the difference with a human vanguard that makes a big difference is the fact that when you're playing with a human vanguard, the timing is pretty easy to judge, because it's always going to be just charge Nova Nova, charge Nova Nova, where with this it's like I have to wait for my buddy Drew to use his sword attack, his slash attack with the new vanguard, and I don't really know the timing too well on that. And also, I have to wait for Obsidian to charge with his, and right here, I'm actually going to get grabbed, and they're not going to be able to save me, so I'm going to be dead for this rest of the wave. But the wave was almost over, so it's not going to take too long. But anyway, like I was saying is that, so, like, and that's the thing about the Krogan. The Krogan's charge takes so long, it's just hard to time. But if you can time it, like I said, it will be just non-stop explosions, and it is amazing. I'm loving the DLC, guys. I don't know, I do have another, well, I don't have the gameplay yet, but I do plan on my next video to be the N7 Demolisher, just to show you how to build him and how to set him up. But in that video, it's going to be unique. It will be me showing you how to farm platinum. I mean, it is so easy. It is just as easy as fire, well, maybe not as easy, but it is really, really easy, just like fire-based white Geth. So I will be coming out with a video about how to farm platinum, and yeah, it is amazing. The other thing is that in that video, I will be playing as the N7 Demolisher, so I can show you that and talk about him in the next video. So watch out for that. That will be the next video more likely, unless my friend who hasn't got the Demolisher yet, unless he doesn't get the Demolisher here soon, then maybe I will do another one. I don't really know yet. And no, guys, I do not have the new assault rifle, the Typhoon, I think it's called. I do not have that yet, unfortunately. But I definitely want to try that out. It looks like the most ridiculous gun in the game now. It is a freaking mounted, it looks like the mounted turrets that you can break off in Halo. That's what it looks like, and I swear to God, that's like how strong it appears to be as well, like a mounted, like a loose mounted turret. Now, you might be wondering, why am I running around with my rockets out now? Well, the reason why is because I don't really need to have my gun out. That's another cool thing about this build, is that around the later waves, especially against Reapers or anything, you could just keep your rockets out. Anytime that you really need to rocket, I'm gonna get a grab right here. But anytime that you actually need to rocket something like a Banshee, like Banshee, just go ahead, rocket it. Just get it out. Just get rid of it. Or if you come across a big spawn, you can always rocket. But because the whole point of this build is I'm running around and I'm just blowing everything up. And the melee's not going to be killing it. Even though, like, when you do this, you will lose your melee bonus from your gun. Even though my melee's not going to be like as strong, like I said, I rarely ever even get kills with my melee in general. So that's the thing. One thing I do want to say as well, it is kind of annoying blowing up brutes with her, just because, like I said, like you have to stay close, you have to stay in their melee range when you do it, and that is just stupid. Like that just sucks, and I can't get this guy up right here, but it just sucks staying in the melee range. That's terrible. And the other thing bad about her melee too is sometimes you will not get the demon lunge, or you will not get the teleporting like lunge. And if that does happen, that is really not a good thing, mainly because you got to think like you're going to be like, and then blow up. I know the sound effect was bad, but you get the idea. Like you're going to be standing still, blowing yourself up, and her dodge and her heavy melee takes up her shields as well. The good thing is that if you do it right, you know, if you do her melee into a group of enemies with shields, like anything against Cerberus or anything against Geth, you will restore your shield all the way once you connect the melee. So that's just the thing. Now right here, I'm gonna have to use my last op pack just because, like I said, she's just so flimsy. That's really the worst thing about her, is just the fact that she's flimsy. But believe me, guys, it's not. It is kind of challenging not dying with her, but at the same time, she is like, when it comes down to adapts, she is definitely the super glass cannon of the adapt. Like, she is the offensive god, but she can die a lot. And if you don't have the shield boosting 4 equipment on, like for gold or platinum, yeah, it becomes harder and harder depending on like what you go with. Power amp on her would be good though too. If you didn't care about dying, if you and your teammates did not care about you dying a lot, I care about dying. I don't like dying, especially on gold. Like I normally don't die a lot on gold, but with her, it's just really hard not to die. But that's the thing, is that, and that, right, sometimes you can teleport. Sometimes you can teleport right in, and I'm gonna rocket that. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like situations like that where you just do not know if it's good or not. So just go ahead and take that rocket. But sometimes you can teleport like up ladders and just like across, not across the map, but like you can really use her melee to get you to like different parts of the map sometimes really quickly, which is really awesome that they do that. But other times it just doesn't work right and can cost you and actually get you killed. And that's you know, that's how it works. Like I said, it's just really hard to dodge brutes at this range. It is extremely hard, especially since like I said, her dodge takes about a half of a second or a second to actually initiate the dodge, and that just kind of sucks that it does that. But it's really whatever. Like I said, overall though, I love this build. I love this character. I'm still working on tweaking the build. Like I said, if I was to redo this build, the only thing I would change is definitely more likely the radius, because I really do believe the radius does increase on the annihilation field if you go for that. I was told differently, but my buddy who told me that, I don't think he really knew exactly if that was what it was. Not saying that he's dumb or anything, but just I think that that's what he thought. And it does sound like that is what it is because of the blast. I mean, it says impact radius, and impact radius is normally like a blast effect, an explosion effect. Like I said, hopefully you guys can tell me like what it exactly is, and then I will go ahead and adjust the build like for whatever that is. Now, and the other thing, like I said, is that I would probably not recommend melee. Just, I mean, maybe if you could have enough boosts like to your melees, you can actually kill a lot, and you can kill a lot of normal enemies. Now, of course, this would be a perfect build for any of you guys who play silver or bronze. Her heavy melee on silver and bronze would just kill everything. So that's the thing. Like, if you play gold and platinum though, yeah, I don't recommend that. But at the same time, like I said, I wouldn't recommend it for gold and platinum, but at the same time for silver or bronze, yeah, definitely go for these melee buffs. In fact, you could probably go for all melee damage and just she would be unstoppable on silver. She really would be. It would be like impossible to try to keep up with her when it comes down to killing, just from the sheer amount of destruction that she can cause. Now, but like I said, for gold though and platinum, if you want to stay alive longer, you might want to go for the fitness. And the other thing, of course, like I said earlier, is that the biggest downside to her melee is that it just does not kill very well on these difficulties. But that's pretty much it, though, guys. That's everything I really want to talk about her. Overall, though, I love her. I think that she is such an amazing adept. Definitely the only adept in the game that I can see myself using consistently. This is a character that I will always want to use just because it's so much fun to use it. But as you can tell, this game is pretty much wrapping up. We have 40 seconds left. I kind of forgot to talk about this map. I will talk about them in future videos. The only thing I will tell you real quick about this map is that I do not like this map that much. I don't mind most of the new maps. I like most of the new maps, but I do overall I like the other two new maps way more than this one. This one's kind of like bleh, like just not that attractive. The other ones are really cool environments. A lot bigger though than this map, but I don't know. You just gotta get used to the maps. I'm still not used to them, and because of that, I don't know. Like I'm not liking them because I'm not used to them. But I'll talk about that in future videos, probably the next video. So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, the N7 Fury is amazing. Definitely try her out if you have her. Build her somewhat like this. Maybe adjust the build depending on the facts of the matter, especially with radius. Melee damage, if you play gold, I wouldn't really recommend that. If you play silver, definitely recommend that because it would just wreck. But yeah, that's pretty much it though, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, please like, please subscribe for all new DLC content coming out. I will also be doing platinum gameplays pretty soon here, but as of right now, I'm just going to showcase each of the new builds on gold. And that's it. But after that, I will be doing platinum. And that's pretty much it. So have a nice day.